Hey guys, what's up? It's George M from A to Z. Today I want to introduce the Air Venturi 4500 PSI 90 cubic inch carbon fiber tank with regulator. If you're in the market for a PCP air gun, you're going to have to pump it with air. So the reason why I have this here is this is also Air Venturi's G6 pump. Initially, this is how you start out. You get a PCP gun, it needs air, so you wind up pumping it with a hand pump. And the hand pump is great, but if it's your only source of air, it gets really tiring after a while, and it kind of takes the fun out of shooting. So you definitely want to invest in one of these here, which is a carbon fiber tank. Don't get a scuba tank. Have one from the past before these came out, well, before they actually were popular, then that's just another story, but it's not going to hold the same amount of pressure. So if you get an air tank, let's say a scuba tank that has 30,000 psi, and your gun goes to 3,000 psi, what are you doing? You're really not going to be able to top off. After a few fills, you're going to wind up pumping. Where you can get this up to 4,500 psi, which is going to give you about 10 to 12 fills before you can really start topping off with a pump. So this is the fill station right here, okay? This is what goes on the bonnet. This is your bleed valve here. This is the female quick disconnect that goes into the male right here with the probe. So we'll just get started on a few basic operations of it and what it does. Okay, so this is the fill port right here. This is where you would fill the tank at the fill station. Now you could either fill it with your pump, but it's really ridiculous because you're going to be pumping about 2,000 times. So you don't want to do that. So here you have the manometer, which is usually for U-shaped bottles, but it's just a regular gauge. Okay, this shows you how much is left in the tank and what the tank can be filled up to. So it's really nice to have that on a tank. Okay, these are your safety check valves here. So in other words, if this tank was to fill, let's say, over 5,000, 6,000 by accident, instead of this tank exploding and pretty much injuring you or killing you, I mean, in the sense, this is actually like a bomb, but they have these safety check valves here, so what it has inside this valve, it would burst, and it would pop out before this actually blew. So that's a nice safety feature. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of the tank. This is also the regulator. So what this is right here, I have another camera so you can, I'll throw some shots in. Right here you can get, it fills up to 2,900 psi. So in other words, what that's going to mean is that when you go to open the valve and you let air out into the gun, it's only going to fill it up to 29 psi. So if you have a gun that goes up to 3, there's no need to really monitor any gauge at that point. If you have a gun that's going to go, let's say like the Crossman, that's going to go up to 2,000, then you definitely want to get an inline gauge, which I don't have it with me now, but it's a gauge that goes into the female connect, and it has a gauge on the line, and then it has a female after that where you would put the male quick disconnect in, and it shows you the what's reading at that time. So let's go into the pump quickly, okay, because they're pretty similar. This is an Air Venturi pump. It's not a review on the pump, but just to show you the basic parts. Okay, this is the gauge, this is the bleed valve. So pretty much same thing with this. You have your bleed valve here. Okay, this is same concept. female quick disconnect, okay, just like it would go inside here to the male. Same way it goes on to the fill station on the tank. Okay, let's connect the fill station onto the air tank. So you simply thread this onto the bonnet. I prefer to do it this way, and then once you get it on there, just flip it around. Okay, now when you do this, you want to make sure that the universal fill valve is in the closed position, which is counterclockwise. So in other words, the pin is up. So what's going to happen is when you're closing this, you're not depressing the bonnet's pin to let air out. So you want to make sure that it's in the closed position. Okay, so unlike closing, you would think would be going clockwise, it's the opposite way here. So now you want to make sure that your vent valve is also closed. Okay, the next step is to put your male quick connect onto the female quick disconnect. Okay, once you do that, pretty much this is ready to go. So now the next step is to actually fill the gun. That's an AT-44PA long, which uses the probe that's at the tip of this here. So some guns have it already, have like a male, the way the fill station is here. Okay, it has that at the end of its fill. So this way you can just actually connect the quick disconnect right to it, the female. But this one you have to actually put a probe into in these guns. So it's very simple. It's pretty much the same concept. Very simply, put the probe inside, just like this. Be careful not to scrape anything or damage the O-rings. Okay, once it's inside, your gauge reads whatever it reads at that time. So you just make sure you could monitor it. But like I said, this has a regulator, so it's going to stop anyway. Open up, close down on the valve till it goes into the bonnet, nice and slow. Okay, this gun happens to be filled already, so pretty much just probably a little bit went inside, but this is the concept. Once you're done, close the valve, meaning open it, then take your bleed valve, open up on that before you disconnect the line, and just simply pull it out, and that's it. You're all done. So I hope this review helped you out, you know, in case you were wondering how to fill up a gun with a tank. That's pretty much how you do it. Pretty much same concept with the pump. You know, when I started, it was a little intimidating in the sense of, you know, scuba tanks, what kind of DIN, yoke, what kind of fittings you need, and everything was just like so all over the place. But really, it's just, once you get into it, it's really simple. Once you make the initial investment into at least a pump and one tank, you're really good to go. After that, if you purchase 1 or 2 or even 3 guns, this is really all you need to fill them, especially if you're not, I mean, shooting constantly, you know. So you can buy bigger if you want to, but for me this is just perfect. 13 fills is plenty. I'm 5 minutes from a paintball station. It's $4, $3 to fill it, so you really can't beat it. So alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.